Coming up next, 15 throwback industries that are coming back big time, and why Michael Jordan is greater than LeBron James. One more big reason. Plus, we'll take your calls and your chats. It starts right now. I am coming to you live from our Ramsey Studios in Nashville, and you are joining a conversation about who you are, what you were created to do, where you want to do it, and how you can get there. It is about your purpose, and a big, big portion of your purpose is to make a significant contribution in your work, through your work. In other words, you were created to fill a unique role. That means you are needed, but it also means that you must do it. Somebody out there needs you to show up and be the best version of you. When we think about changing the world, it's a daunting idea. But when we think about just changing our world, now that's doable. And so we want to help you with that conversation. 844-747-2577. You have the answers. I promise. It's my job to get the answers out of you. So join us. 844-747-2577. Phone lines already lighting up. We have a couple of lines still available. Madison, the associate producer, is standing by. Actually, she's not standing by. She's talking to callers, getting them ready to go. And she will get you ready. Even if you're nervous, she knows what to tell you. She'll get you set up. And then you're in good hands when I get you on the line, because I'm for you and we're going to help you. 15 throwback industries making a comeback this year. Why am I sharing this with you? Well, for those of you that are thinking about that entrepreneurial venture that you've always kind of kicked around in your head, you don't have a whole lot of ideas, maybe no winning idea yet. For some of you who are looking for just a side hustle, to dip your toe in the water to see, do I want to work for myself? Or do I just want to make some extra money? Here are 15 throwback industries making a comeback, and this is so heartwarming. This is from Business Insider. I love this list, Nathan. This is so good. The first one, drive-in movies. Well, this has been great. Obviously, COVID has kind of forced this onto us. But the drive-in movies are great, especially if you're a classic car guy like me, and you got the convertible classic car, and you got the awesome lady to watch the movie with. That's fun. Puzzles. How about puzzles? Now, I personally have never been a big jigsaw puzzle guy, mainly because I lose interest quickly. But I've taken on many, not completed very many. But that's fun. And by the way, a great creative outlet for our kids. I laughed when I saw this one, Joe. Roller skating. You know, I get some great memories from the 80s at roller skating rinks. I'll leave it at that. But it was never a good roller skater. Stationery. Now, this actually very much excites me. Andrea Bell is the director of insights at a trend forecasting company, commented on this for Town and Country magazine on the rebirth or the boom of stationery again. She said everyone is experiencing digital fatigue. So we are turning to tangible things. And this is very exciting to see handwritten notes, the stationery returning. By the way, stationery is great, not just because it's allowing you to handwrite things, which I'm just such a big believer in, but also the personal style that you can add to the personal note. All right, board games are back. I'm a big board game maniac. I love board games. The reason that this is significant is because it involves community. And when we're playing board games, we're looking at each other, we're talking to each other, we're listening to each other, we're laughing with each other, we're competing with each other. Hopefully we're not arguing with each other, but I will tell you, Minnie Coleman, when I was growing up with my brother, he and I would compete to the death, even over a board game. So there were many times Mom and Dad had to say, dudes, chill out. But great memories there. Roll through the rest of these really quick. Bread baking. Again, a very labor-intense activity, but a lot of craftsmanship there. House plants, arcade games, bicycles, getting out and exercising and feeling the fresh air. Inflatable pools. As a dad, I have a love-hate relationship with inflatable pools. Lots of love, setting it up, Kids are excited about it, filling it up. Kids are excited. You get to watch them play. The minute they're done with it, the hate comes out for the dads, right? Because then you got to empty the stupid thing, ruins your lawn. Got to dry that nasty, muddy thing out and put it up. So there you go. I get some therapy on that issue. Video games, I didn't understand how this made the list. I really didn't. Because in my world with 3 kids, video games didn't go away. But I think more adults are probably playing video games. And I will tell you, I will confess that I have one video game. I love playing, I did love playing Madden, which is the football, and the NBA Live with my boys until they started to destroy me. And after I would get whipped every time, Joe, I decided I'm not interested in getting my teeth kicked in every time I play my boys. So I've gone to video game golf. And so PlayStation 4 is like a great, and so I can zone out for about 25, 30 minutes. Rarely does this happen. But every once in a while when the kids are all doing something, Dad likes to go up there and play 18 holes of golf. And it is very relaxing, I must say. So all for that. Surfing, vinyl records, very exciting that vinyl records and trading cards, the last 2 of the 15 things. Let me tell you why I like that. Joe, you know this. Madison, this is a word she doesn't even understand. I think Nathan gets it. He's a little older than Madison, so there's some ageism going on here. Poor Madison. Is that anything vintage? I'm in. I don't even have to have a personal interest in it, but if you talk to me about vintage or show me something vintage, I'm very intrigued by it. And so the baseball trading cards, you know, football cards, all these kind of sports cards are coming back. And the vinyl records, I've always loved a good vinyl record. So Joe, if you're looking for that hard to get Christmas present for me, a record player I think would be good. But now when I grew up, the record players were massive. Do you remember this?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Like record players were either, it would be the little thing on the table or it would be inside of a gigantic piece of furniture that took 3 grown men to move it.
Very heavy.
Very heavy, just like the TVs as well. Remember the TV was as big as the oven? But you still had to get close to it because the screen itself wasn't very big, but all of the furniture around it was wider than the actual screen.
And the old ones got as hot as ovens in the back.
No question. It was an additional heating source. Or alternately made your house hotter because of the amount of BTUs that baby was kicking off of the back of it. 844-747-2577 is the number. 844-747-2577. Let's go to the phones. Jacksonville, Florida is where we start. Abby is on the line. Abby, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Thank you so much for taking my call.
You bet, Abby. How can I help?
Okay, so basically, I'm in a job that I don't like, I'm not happy with, and I'm wondering, should I start or should I stay to gain more job history, or can I start putting out resumes for other jobs?
Start putting out resumes for other jobs, for sure, but I'm not sure that it's time to move on yet. I think it is, but I just want to ask this. Is there any more valuable experience that you can get while you're there, or have you pretty much topped out and you just want it for your resume experience?
I feel like I've gained as much as I am going to.
Yeah, that's what I thought. It sounded that way. So my point is I wouldn't worry about the job hopping stain. It feels to me that's what you're addressing. Is that right?
Yeah, I had family like recommending that I, stay because the job hopping might not look good on a resume. So that's why I'm trying to get clarification.
Well, clarification on this is job hopping is if you're changing jobs every 6 to 8 weeks and you do this for a year, 2 years, 3 years, that looks really flighty. But in this situation, you've gone in, you've done a good job. And if you, let's say, presumably over the next month, 2, 3 months, you find something else and it's something you really enjoy, then you're not going to be hopping anyway. And so that turnaround is you can say, look, I got great experience while I was there. I topped out pretty quickly, and in that time discovered what I really want to do, and that's why I then went to this next job. And then for you all, you know, this is the graduation, the next rung on the ladder. So it all depends on how that looks. But if you are moving up, it's not job hopping, it's advancing. Do you see the difference?
Right. Mm-hmm.
So, you know, you want to move towards work that you really love. So don't worry about that. So the answer is yes, it's time to start looking, and it's okay. It's not going to look. How long have you been at this current job?
It'll be about 5 months next week.
Yeah, I'm not worried about that at all. It's not going to look bad because of the narrative attached to your move. Make sense?
Okay. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Hey, be confident, Abby. I appreciate. Listen, and you're in a tough position because I think you agree with me 100%, don't you?
Yes, I do.
But you're going, okay, Ken, I get it. 100% agree with you. But now I got to go back and tell my family that I disagree with them. I feel like that's the emotion attached to what's going on. Am I right or wrong?
No, you're right.
All right.
Yeah.
I could tell. I could tell in your voice. I didn't think you disagree with me, which, by the way, it'd be fine if you did. It's your life. It's your move. My job's to be your guide. But I'm telling you, I'm concerned, and I don't want to let you go until I know that you are going to adjust your confidence level here and go, it's my decision. It's my life. It's my career. I've got to make the decision whether or not my family agrees with me or not. You there?
Yes, I agree.
All right. Okay. All right. Because listen, it's hard when people you love and respect give you one opinion and you go, I don't know if that's true. Then you call this dude on the radio or on YouTube and he tells you what you're thinking. You're going, okay, that's all well and good, but now I got to deal with the reality of this. And I just want you to be fired up and know that you're doing the right thing, because you are. All right? So thank you for the call. You got it, Abby. I promise you got this. 844-747-2577. Guillermo is up next in Toronto, Canada. Guillermo, you're on the Ken Coleman Show. How are you?
I'm good, Ken. How are you?
I can't complain. I am living the dream. What's going on with you?
Thank you for taking my call, first of all.
You bet.
I have a bit of an accent, so if I ever struggle to be understood, let me know.
You sound great. I'm just afraid I butchered your name. I hope I said it pretty well.
It's okay. It's a hard one to pronounce in English.
How do you say it? I want to learn.
In Spanish, it's Guillermo. In English, people just say Guillermo, and it's like, that's good enough.
Okay, so my English version was okay.
Yeah, it was totally okay. Totally okay.
Good. All right. Because if I butcher it, I'll own it right here. I'm never above learning. All right. So how can I help you today?
So what happened is I'm 29 currently, and in my 20s I studied film in Canada, and because I went into film because I wasn't sure what to study, and a philosophy teacher I had in high school said, "Hey, you like music, you like writing, acting, all those things are in that career." So I went into it, but it was a career that was kind of plagued by insecurities, need for validation. And nowadays, I really want to start making more money. Like, I really want to make a better living. So I was thinking of going into architecture, not as lucrative. So now I'm looking into real estate, and I'm actually really interested. The only thing is that there were a lot of aspects of filmmaking that I discovered that are gifts that I have that I think are my biggest talents. Writing, creativity, storytelling, leadership, search of meaning. And I'm worried of losing those or not, making use of them in a real estate career. But then an arts career is just so much more risky, so much more success is so much more unlikely. And I just wonder if, how do I deal with this, dichotomy? Like, where do I go? What do I do?
Well, I love how you've walked this thing right to the point of the question, but I think in some ways you've started to answer your own question. So I don't even mind if you don't have an answer to this, but here's the right question for you to be acting on today, the minute we hang up on our phone call, okay? The question is, how do you use those top talents, skills of writing, storytelling, creativity, leadership? Did I leave anything out?
No, you got it all.
How do you use those skills to win in real estate? That's the question. That's the right question. Because you've shown some interest in the work itself. What interests you about real estate? Let's go to passion. We know what your talent is. But when we look at passion, I define passion in the context of this show and working on purpose as work that you just love. I love this work. So what is that with real estate now that you've looked into it?
Well, I think I've always been interested in homes as a kid, just spaces. And on a more sentimental note is that I had to leave my country because it was a crisis. I'm from Venezuela originally.
Yeah.
And I think there's something about home building that, the fact that you use your home, you value it, and I see value in helping other people find the right home for them. Yeah. I don't know if that makes sense.
No, it makes total sense. Listen, so you ready? I'm going to call you G. Can I call you G for the rest of the show?
Yeah, everyone does that, so go ahead.
Oh, well, that's fantastic. I had no idea. All right, so G, I want you to now take a shot at answering that question I framed for you. Mm-hmm. How do you use your writing skills, your stories, telling skills, your creative skills, which kind of feed into that whole writing, storytelling side of things, creating a mood, that's what filmmakers do. They take a story and they create in all these different scenes. They create moods for us, right? They take us on a journey through the story. And so how would you take those skills and then leadership and win in the real estate industry? Tell me.
I mean, a quick shot, I think.
Say that again?
A quick shot at it. I'm trying to turn my brain off because...
okay, gotcha. Yeah, just tell me. What would that look like? You want to sell homes, yes or no?
Yeah, I like to give it a shot, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, so, okay. How would your writing skills make you, let's assume right now, let's fast forward you're ready to start selling houses today. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, you got the licensing, you got a broker that's taking care of you, and you got some mentor there through that broker, and you're ready to start getting clients to list with you, or you're ready to start showing houses to other people. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. How are you going to use your writing and storytelling skills to sell houses?
Well, an idea that I did have was maybe making videos that, show off the houses like remotely, but they're not simply like showing the space in pictures, but I can actually get actors and show how the space would look at the home.
Fantastic idea, G. Bro.
Thank you.
How many real estate professionals have kick butt Instagram profiles? I'll bet you the best. Idea. I'll bet you the best ones have killer ones. I'll bet you there's successful people who don't have great social media, but for somebody like you have the ability because of your background to come in and shoot it yourself, probably on an iPhone or something like that. Cut it up, and you take the video storytelling ability, and then the caption that you write on Instagram and Facebook, and wherever else you want to go, and put it out there. The storytelling and the writing and the creativity, it's going to sell houses for you. And then when you actually develop a team under you eventually, that's where that leadership skill. So I got to tell you, telling the story of a home, every home has a story, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
Don't you think every room has a story, G?
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. From the small to the bigger.
I just think it gives you a leg up. I think you have an advantage right out of the gate. Because you're going to tell stories when you're walking those people through a home. You're going to tell stories when you list a property. See, because you're either listing properties or you are showing properties. When you're listing, you're creating the narrative. You're helping other real estate professionals tell the story you want told, to be able to sell the house for the folks you listed it for. When you're showing a house, somebody else's house, and you're walking through the rooms and through the house, you go look at it ahead of time, and you've got a story, and you go, how would a documentary director sell this house?
Oh my God, I love that framing.
I know, I gotta be honest with you, I'm glad you said that, because when I said that, I went, oh, that's pretty good, Ken. Because sometimes I say things that I'm just real time coaching you, but I think every house you list, every house you show is a documentary. And I think that's how you look at this. So yeah, I think it fits.
Yeah, I think so too.
Time for you to get busy, G. Time for you to get busy, man. You got work to do. You need to get qualified if you're not already and start getting connected to find the right broker, somebody who will pour into you and get you started, and then you do what only you can do, the way that only you can do it, and you're going to win big. You're going to be a multimillionaire, and you're going to be telling stories. Oh no! Don't listen. Listen. The hope is there. It's not about hope anymore. It's about getting after it. You hear me?
Yes.
All right, get after it. 844-747-2577. 844-747-2577. Really quick application lesson off of that call. Those of you that are watching this, what just happened there is why I preach the indicators in the get clear stage 1. What do you do best? Talent. What work do you love to do? Passion. What results of your work matter most to you? Mission. Talent, passion, mission are indicators. Think of them as 3 gauges on the dashboard of your car or the dashboard of you. And every person on the planet has all 3 of those indicators. And in talking to anybody on the planet, once I become aware or help them become aware, because it's really a 2-step process, I've got to be aware and then help them see it. And so when a person is clear on what they do best and the work they love to do and the results that matter deeply to them, then there's all kinds of connections and patterns. And as I've said 100,000 times, that sweet spot, that contribution zone at the intersection of talent, passion, mission, there are multiple things. So this young man could be very successful in film. But you know what? The season of life, he wants to make more money. He's looking for another role in his sweet spot, and real estate professional definitely fits. And all we did there was walk through talent and passion. I didn't even touch on mission because it was already becoming very clear to him that he's always loved homes. And so the idea of helping someone have that all-important base of safety that he or his family members or friends didn't have in the ravaged socialist disaster called Venezuela. By the way, it's why socialism doesn't work. For those of you that are getting attracted to this concept, you have no idea what it means and what it looks like. Go do your own research. If you still disagree with me, fine. But I'm all about capitalism because capitalism is about the individual, the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I'm not looking to the government. In fact, I don't even want the government involved in anything that I do. Stay over there. Get away from me. All right. I digress. But by the way, you know what? I have to say this. This isn't a political show. But when you hear things like socialism and it's just a term to you and you really don't get it, go do your own homework. And again, I'm fine. I won't argue with you for 2 seconds. But I at least want you to do your homework. And once you've gotten your answer and you feel good about it, great. But look at countries like Venezuela and Cuba. And look at socialist, communistic philosophies and how it affects you, real individuals. Just take a look at it. And again, we're not going to break it down. I'm not going to do a slideshow. But just do your own homework. 844-747-2577. I'm feeling the juice, Joe. Coming up, I'm excited, but I'm going to switch gears here. I feel like I need to take Shannon's call. So I'm gonna do that. Then we'll get to the chat room. We're gonna get a lot done today. But coming up, all right, I can't wait to teach you something I've been paying attention to after I watched the ESPN documentary on Michael Jordan and the Bulls and that series. And I'm gonna step into a fun sports controversy to teach you an actual life lesson. I'm going to give you another reason why I think Michael Jordan is greater than LeBron James. So you LeBron lovers out there, yeah, I know. Come on, a little fun sports, controversy is always good. So that's coming up, but it's actually a really valuable life lesson from the life of Michael Jordan. So that's coming up. But I really feel like I just got to go to Shannon. Normally I go to the chat room. We'll get to the chat room. But let's go to Richmond, Kentucky, where Shannon is on the line. Shannon, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Hi, Ken. Thank you for taking my call.
You bet. I saw the topic there, what Madison tells me there on that little bit of space. I thought, I got to talk to you. So what's going on?
Well, I appreciate it. Okay, so the last, I'd say year, I haven't really felt like I've been accomplishing much in the job that I was in. And I liked the job, but it just wasn't, I didn't feel like I was in the right place. So last week I gave my 2 weeks notice, and I don't have anything lined up, but I have something in mind.
Okay.
But I just need some help figuring out how to accomplish that.
I love it. What is this thing you have in mind?
Okay. So I have been the youth pastor in my church for the last 8 years as a volunteer.
Did you say youth pastor?
Yes.
Okay, got it. Okay.
I volunteer. I don't get paid, but I love that work, and I love helping people. And I live in a very small rural community. And I just want to make it better, but I don't know how to go about doing that and having a career in that as well. So if you could just give me some advice or help me figure out what I need to do, that would be amazing.
All right, let's start with what is the amount of money that you need to make? Need is the operating word. So if you don't need to make a certain amount or it's just gravy, tell me what we need to accomplish financially.
Okay, so I have no debt.
Great.
Free. I have 3 to 6 months of savings.
Great.
And I have very little expenses. I still live at home. So I honestly don't need a whole lot of money.
What would be the baseline? So you'd have to make at least this much, and you've got a little bit of margin, not to mention you're already debt free and you got savings and you live at home, so virtually very little cost. What would be the number where you still want to bring that in?
In the area, if I could, bring home like $600 a week, I think I would be doing okay.
Okay, great. All right. And that's important because we have to figure out when we've got a passion for something like this and we're starting to figure out the path to it, we have to still deal with the fact that we've got real responsibilities. And so you're at a small church, I'm guessing. That's where you go to church and volunteer. And so they don't have a full-time youth pastor, which is why you do it as a volunteer.
Correct.
So that position is probably not coming available for you, and it's certainly not going to pay you that kind of money. Is that also correct?
We've had youth pastors in the past that have been paid a salary, but I just took it on as a volunteer.
Well, then I think we start with a sit-down. I think we start with a sit-down with your pastor.
Right.
I mean, has it ever come up about you maybe moving into the full-time role, or has it not even been discussed outside of your own head?
Well, I mean, it's not been discussed, except a couple of weeks ago, he actually came to me, and I hadn't said anything to him about it. He asked if I wanted him to write a reference letter so I could start taking classes at the Bible college. And I didn't know if that was him trying to, maybe say that I could have that position.
Yeah, that's a clarifying. So you need to call him today. Hey, what if I did this? I've just left my job. I'd love to do it full time. So let me just say, I'd love to do it full time because that's true. Isn't that true? You'd love to do it if he gave it to you. So just say, what would it take? What are the qualifications? What does get qualified for this church and this youth pastor role? Does it mean I've got to have a seminary degree, or do you want me just to have a Bible college degree? Can I do it and you start paying me if I start to take classes? I mean, you just got to sit down and go, what if? What could be? That's the conversation, because I do believe he's opened the door for that without question.
Okay.
That's exciting. Now we got this challenge though. So let's say he goes, you need to get a 4-year degree, or 2-year degree or whatever. Once he answers the question of what does it mean to be qualified, you've got to find out, Pastor, what would make me qualified for this full-time job? Are you open to me stepping into it and getting paid at least part-time? All these things have to be figured out. At that point, now all right, if I want to do that, then I need to go get a day job, and maybe it's working with young people at a I don't know if you've got a YMCA, but you're going to have to find something that will bring in that base amount of money while you're getting qualified. And ideally, not just the base amount of money, something that's going to help you pay for the degree or whatever he's going to require.
Okay.
But that's your path. That's your path because that's what you want to do, right?
Yeah.
Well, then,
I've always enjoyed working with teenagers.
Well, then just say that's what I want to do. And so I wonder if there's a job where maybe you can make $24,000 or $25,000 a year for the local government working with youth programs or parks and recreation or just something where you're engaged with young people some way, somehow. Make sense?
Yeah, it does.
So that way, at least in the day job, there's some involvement with young people. And oh, by the way, you go, hey, listen, have you ever thought about coming to church? Ooh, I like that. I'm all about that kind of action. Then invite them to church on Sunday after you've helped them out with a government service on Thursday. I mean, maybe that's an option. I don't know. I'm trying to give you some options here. But this is not a difficult path for you. It might take a little bit of time, but this is just about finding out what he wants from a qualification standpoint. Will he give you a shot at it? And you'll go, I'm in. I'll do it.
Okay.
Yeah,
that
Shannon.
Awesome.
Yeah. Listen, listen, you need to do this. You need to go for it. Okay?
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you for calling. Love it. 844-747-2577 is the phone number. Let's go to the chat room. And then I'm really excited to take this on. You know, I've always been fascinated by how great women and great men got where they are. Because I want you to see the struggle, the challenge that these folks had. I want you to see that. And so I'm going to work through a series this week. There's 5 men and women that I want to walk through just a bit, just a smidge, talking just a few minutes of their journey so that you can begin to lower the bar, the separation between you and what you think are great men and women, that you can actually be a great version of you. And the stuff that you're dealing with, other people of great note and success dealt with as well. So that's coming up. Another reason why Michael Jordan is greater than LeBron James. How about that for a tease? But first, Susie writes in, what should I do if I'm not in my sweet spot job, but I am at the right place? So this is a reference to a free resource that we have that has become a really great clarifying nudge for a lot of you folks. And for those of you who need to take it, go to kencoleman.com and take the Should I Quit My Job quiz. Because some of you are wondering, should I quit my job? Take the quiz. It takes, I think, 2 minutes, 20 simple questions, and it's going to give you one of 4 answers. There it is right there. Nathan, you're so good. You are really good, dude. That's impressive. I talk, Nathan throws a graphic up. The guy he's a wizard. I have ADHD, folks. I get fascinated by the smallest of things. But nonetheless, I'm greatly appreciative. So in this situation, what she's saying is, I'm in the wrong role, but the right place. So she loves the company, good culture, healthy culture. She probably has a connection to the mission, the purpose of the company as well. And she's not in the right role there. So it's effectively think of Susie's on the right bus, but the wrong seat. Okay. And so, Susie, what you should do is you're looking for other seats on the bus that are a good fit for you. Go back to the sweet spot exercise, the career clarity guide, the indicators I talked about earlier, talent, what you do best, passion, the work you love to do, and then mission, the results of the work you love to do that really fire you up. What seats exist in this right place, this right bus? And so it's simply to the bus driver going, hey, I'm in the wrong seat on the bus. I'd like to sit in that seat. What is it going to take for me to get there? That's essentially the conversation. Gabriella writes in, this is very relevant. I'm currently unemployed due to COVID. Should I spend time looking for a job in my sweet spot, or should I just get a job that brings in money? Well, the answer is yes and yes. You should be looking for a job in your sweet spot, but if that's going to take time and we've got an immediate need for income, then get a job, a day job that brings in money, or 2 part-time jobs. Let's take care of the lack of inflow of money first. And then I don't mind if 2 months from now you leave those 2 part-time jobs or a job to step into the sweet spot. So you're looking for the sweet spot job, but if that's going to take a little bit of time to find and then land, let's take care of our immediate needs, because it is that day job that will bring the stability you need to be able to get and step into the dream job. 844-747-2577 is the number. Okay, here we go. Another reason why Michael Jordan is the greatest basketball player of all time, and yes, that means he's greater than LeBron James. This is actually not a basketball bit. This is not a basketball segment. Let me dive in here. One of the reasons that I think that Michael Jordan has universal love and respect is not just his ability to play the game, but it is that we look back to his story. And the moment that we begin to hear the narrative of Michael Jordan is in the fall of 1978. He is a sophomore basketball player and baseball player, but it is basketball season at Laney High School in Wilmington, North Carolina. And he tries out for the varsity team. And his coach, Clifton Pop Herring, had to make a tough decision between a 5'9" sophomore by the name of Michael Jordan or a 6'7" forward by the name of Leroy Smith. And when you dig into the stats here and the story, you realize that the popular narrative that Michael Jordan was cut, some people don't think that he was cut because essentially he didn't make the varsity team. He played on the JV team, which a lot of sophomores would. He never played up, though. He didn't play up with the varsity. His direct quote years later to ESPN was, "It was embarrassing not making that team. They posted the roster, and it was there for a long time without my name on it. I remember being really mad, too, because there was a guy who made it that really wasn't as good as me." So the bottom line is, he was cut from the varsity. He was on the JV team. He didn't make the varsity. I don't care what the narrative is. There's all kinds of stuff on the internet about this. But this is the lesson. Jordan got mad, and sometimes we think that anger and getting mad is unhealthy. I totally reject that. How we deal with being mad, how we deal with the anger is the issue. But anger can be beautiful. What a wonderful fire anger can be. It's how you manifest it, how you react to it. And young Michael Jordan turned it into a raging furnace of drive. And we all know the story. He then grows, basically to be 6'5", 6'6", and goes on to be a star at the University of North Carolina, and then the greatest basketball player of all time. Sorry, LeBron lovers. But the reason that I think that Michael Jordan is greater than LeBron, because LeBron, at no fault of his own, was a physical specimen and was manhandling, literally, other high school players. It's not his fault. He was bigger, more athletic. He's a phenomenal athlete, great basketball player. Nothing against LeBron James. I'm having a little fun with this because Michael Jordan had to deal with a very painful rejection at one of the most formative times of his life. Folks, when you think back to being a sophomore, or our parents, you know, these kids, these teenage years are unbelievably formative, and a rejection, because that's what that was. So the theme here we're focusing on is Michael Jordan faced a devastating rejection. It is well documented, and it came up in the ESPN series. If you want to watch an unbelievable documentary, whether you're a basketball fan or not, he went home and cried to his mother. He wept in the arms of his mother after being told, "You're not going to make the team." That's rejection. And I have said many times on this show, I'll remind you again, that one of the greatest fears that we as human beings have is rejection. When we've experienced it, and we all do at some point, it's a sting, and it's a reminder that, oh, I don't even want to take the chance of being rejected. So what do? We don't put ourselves out there. We don't pursue the dream. We don't try out for the team because we don't want to be told no, because we're afraid of hearing the words no and then feeling like I'm not good enough. And that is a feeling that rocks all of us to our core. Michael Jordan dealt with a very painful rejection at a very formative time of his life. But the difference between Michael Jordan and other wonderful athletes or other great business people or other great music artists or whoever who never actually met their full potential is that he took that rejection and he redirected it into a fuel, a raging inferno, a furnace inside of him to get better. And he put a big giant chip on his shoulder. Rejection is going to come to you if it hasn't already. Some of you have been sidelined for a while because of a recent rejection. Michael Jordan is one of the greatest of all time, not because of his athletic ability only, but because of how he handled rejection. And if you learn from him, you can win big in your life. Michael Jordan once said, "Never say never because of limits like fears. They are often just an illusion." The fear of being rejected, he turned that into an illusion. He had experienced it. He said, it's not going to happen. He also talks about failure. I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost almost 300 games. 26 times I was trusted to take the game-winning shot, and I missed it. I've failed over and over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed. That is why people become great. That kind of outlook, that kind of attitude, that kind of action. That's why Michael Jordan is one of the greatest. There's many that had similar skill. Few had the drive, the willingness to fail, but fail forward. Well, my time is almost up, but before I let you go, I want you to know that you matter and you do have what it takes. Thank you so much for joining us. Until next time, this is the Ken Coleman Show. Press on.